Today we're getting into the latest tech, Tesla, and EV news, including Tesla reviving the $25,000 EV, the refreshed Apple Vision Pro, Tesla's new milestone at Giga Texas, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, the big new factory for Tesla at this point is their Giga Texas factory. They've moved their headquarters to Texas, and this is their largest factory. It was intended for a lot of extra space to build future products, and we'll see what it ends up overall developing into. But for now, it's mainly building the Model Y and the Cybertruck. Tesla posted a recent milestone for this factory though, saying, "Congratulations to the Giga Texas team for building 500,000 vehicles." Now this is a milestone achieved since their first delivery occurred on April 7th of 2022. That was first customer deliveries of the Model Y, which at the time had 4680 battery cells, which they delivered at the Cyber Rodeo event. Since then, they hit a milestone of 10,000 Model Ys by September of 2022, 3,000 a week by December of 2022, 5,000 a week by May of 2023, and then in mid-2023, the plant's 4680 cell production hit 10 million battery cells. So that supported structural battery packs at the time, although they've since switched away from that with the Model Y, and the Cybertruck is the current car they use 4680 battery cells in. The Cybertruck line itself there started deliveries from Giga Texas on November 30th of 2023, which added complexity with steel body forming and new manufacturing steps, and then between April and mid-October of 2025, Giga Texas built 100,000 units, which equaled out to about 15,000 per month. Overall, it's an impressive ramp, and when you compare it to things like Giga Berlin hit 500,000 in about 3 years from its first deliveries in March of 2022 to March of 2025. Giga Shanghai, of course, was faster. It hit its 1 millionth vehicle by August of 2022, which was less than 3 years from its initial delivery in December of 2019. No matter what, Giga Texas will have a huge role in Tesla's future, no matter what product they're building. I could picture a lot of robots coming out of this factory in the coming years. Maybe a smaller version of the Cybertruck, maybe a Cyber SUV, maybe a cheaper version of the Model Y that's actually smaller. Definitely the Cybercab and any future products they can make, but a lot of that depends on where their software efforts end up taking them, and we'll see what shape this factory takes in the future. One big thing we should see from this factory soon enough is their unboxed assembly process, which will be quite interesting. This is much different than their Fremont factory, because in Fremont they bought a factory and have had to work with that over the years and expand it in many different ways. Giga Texas was built from the ground up for their own purposes. Now, speaking of Texas, Texas residents can now get $2,500 off the purchase price or lease of a new EV, and Tesla is specifically advertising this because the Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y, and Cybertruck all qualify, along with other EVs from other brands. As a Texas resident, you can now apply for a grant on your Tesla vehicle with the Texas Light Duty Motor Vehicle Purchase or Lease Program. You receive up to $2,500 back on your new Tesla when you purchase or lease it. They do say there are limited grants available, so we'll see how long this lasts for, but if you're in Texas and looking to buy one of these cars, this is a good incentive that is in place now. Things are always changing in that regard. Of course, the EV tax credit just ended. The Tesla referral program is always changing and more, so I'll be sure to keep you posted on this channel for the latest deals in all markets. Next up today, it has only been a few days at this point since we've seen the new Model 3 standard and the Model Y standard. Now, the reason these are such a big deal is because these have been hyped up from Tesla for a very long time. We first heard about the official idea of a $25,000 EV coming from Tesla back at their 2020 battery day. This EV was going to be enabled by those cheaper battery cells, and of course Elon added that it would be fully autonomous. But things changed over the years, and they kind of had this whole restructuring of this cheaper EV project into the Cybercab. The Cybercab is what will use that unboxed assembly process, is supposed to be that cheaper vehicle and much more, but of course it doesn't have a steering wheel or pedals. So Tesla left the project, which was known as NV91, on the shelf over at Tesla, and instead just decided to pivot to making cheaper versions of the Model 3 and Y. Now, I do think that's a smart move to make these cheaper versions of this car, but now the Model Y standard starts at $40,000. Of course, they had to somewhat introduce these after the tax credit disappeared entirely, but still they may not be as exciting as some people hoped. I mean, there are already good competitors out there like the Chevy Equinox coming in at $35,000. Maybe the Model Y standard can get down to that price. Maybe the Model 3 can get closer to $30,000 and more in time. But a new rumor is indicating that Tesla may actually be continuing development on that previously canceled car. A source close to Tesla reportedly said that they plan to resume development of NV91 and 93, which are to create new vehicles smaller than the Model Y. Tesla China is reportedly exploring relaunching a compact sub-Model Y vehicle under those project codenames. So of course in China we've seen a bigger version of the Model Y, but China specifically is a very particular market for Tesla because they have a lot of competition there. They need cheaper vehicles there, but they need them to be even more affordable than they are in the United States. The NV91 was originally planned as this $25,000 model, but was paused in February of 2024 because of fierce price competition from BYD and other local automakers. Then Tesla's sales for the first 3 quarters of 2025 have been down 5.9% year over year, and basically they know and have communicated a lot that cheaper EVs are really what is necessary here. Reportedly, these cheaper models would do a lot like they've done with the Model Y Standard, keeping a lot of the same driver assistance hardware, but stripping down the luxury and comfort features and decorative features to reduce cost. I think another great way that they could do this is by launching a new car, so we don't have one to compare it to. Right now, when we look at the Model Y Standard, we say, look at all these downgrades that you're getting for $5,000 less. Is that enough cost savings to actually justify all of these downgrades? Versus if they introduce an entirely new vehicle at a low price point and it just hasn't come with any upgraded features yet, I think it will do a lot better, at least in its perception. And then of course it will do better if it can actually cost $25,000. Now, of course, for the long future of Tesla, they are looking at AI and robotics. That's where they're truly focused, and their Master Plan Part 4 really focuses on this. But for the meantime, they sell cars, and that's where their primary revenue comes from. They've done a great job at it so far, but of course, they don't have these cheaper vehicles, and people want to see them. So this could simply be a smart move by Tesla and looking into the future, especially in markets like China. Or this could be a sign that the Model Y Standard and the Model 3 Standard are just not selling well yet. They are up for order already in the United States, and maybe Tesla is seeing that, well, we can't price them that much lower than what we're offering, even after we stripped back all of these features, if we want to still make a profit, but we're not actually receiving that many orders. I personally kind of hope that that is the case because we need to see a cheaper vehicle, and it would be great to see just a different form factor come from Tesla instead of just a stripped back version of cars that they have sold for years at this point. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Tesla still needs to introduce this cheaper EV? Are you all in on the Cybercab? Do you think that's going to come to be and make it so we don't need any other cars? Is Tesla being forced to do this because of bad sales for the Model Y Standard? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Next up today, some updates for the Model Y specifically. For the Model Y L over in China, that car is doing quite well, and Tesla just finally introduced the light interior option for this car. It's kind of a small update, but this is the equivalent of $1,120, and this is what it looks like. That car does seem to be specifically helping to boost sales for Tesla over there, and we've been waiting a long time to see this car in person. We had heard a lot of rumors about this car coming, and many thought it would definitely come to the United States, but Elon Musk has indicated it wouldn't come to the US until the end of next year because of self-driving. In any case, we've been waiting for a long time for this car and others, and it seems we now have everything unveiled that we expect to see from Tesla this year specifically when it comes to cars. Aside from, I guess, the rear-wheel drive long-range Model Y, which is supposed to launch soon in China as the Model Y Plus. It will pretty much be that same car, even though it sounds cool and new. It's something that they haven't had over there. Now, people have kind of rightfully been complaining about the fact that Tesla is an American company, but now we're seeing all of their cars launch in other markets first. We're even seeing trims like the Model Y not come to the United States. Most recently, we of course saw that with the Model Y L, which is exclusive to China. Then we saw the Model Y Performance get announced in Europe first and start deliveries there. And before this, we had the Model 3 refresh, first launched in China, and then the Model Y refresh, first launched in China. Now, it is worth mentioning for the Model Y refresh, it was only a few days of a delay to come to the United States, and then they streamlined that across the entire globe for its release. But this time, Tesla did announce a car in the US first, the Model Y Standard and the Model 3 Standard. Maybe it's not as exciting, but I guess the more exciting part about this is that it's more affordable, which of course is very important for EVs. And this is worth noting. It's very easy to look at all these cars and say Tesla only launches cars in other markets first, but this time they actually launched it in the US first. Although I guess technically this car is shipping in Europe in November and then the US in December if all goes according to plan. So they're still beating us there, but it was announced here first. In any case, many still want to see a truly cheaper version of that Model 3 and Y standard, and I think one of the big ways we could get this closer to $30,000 would be actually dropping the range more significantly. They wanted to keep it over 300 miles for now, which I do understand, but there are more and more cars coming to market like the Chevy Bolt, which is going to come in sub $30,000 with a 250-mile range or so. And then while people want that cheaper car, they also want the more expensive car, a Model X replacement, that Model YL. So it will be a very interesting future to watch. Tesla is really lasered into these two cars, the Model Y and the 3, and then having variations of those. And that's largely because of AI, FSD, and robots. They don't want to truly expand and have too much complexity there because they're looking at this future and going, this is going to be much bigger than the projects we currently have. But they might actually be expanding into a new form factor with that NV91. And this is in part because FSD efforts in other countries are lagging behind. In the United States, we have FSD version 14, I guess it's on 14.1.1 for early access testers right now, and Tesla seems confident that this is going to enable an autonomous future here first. But in other countries, things lag behind because of data and because of regulatory requirements, and the fact that this system hasn't even launched in certain countries. So it seems like for the meantime, they're looking at other markets and going, okay, maybe we actually do need to make this cheaper EV, and I'm hoping that eventually that will cross over into the United States. Chinese EV competition and Tesla being in that market is overall good for us in the United States. I think it's kind of fair to say that the Model 3 refresh and the Model Y refresh maybe would have been a little more delayed or not as exciting if it weren't for that competition over in China and the fact that Tesla has to compete there. Then when the Model YL hopefully comes here, it's going to be as a result of China. I mean, it's there at least a year and a half before we're getting it here. No matter what, it's interesting to watch, but if you're a fan of the cars specifically, and that's the most exciting thing for you, it's a little unfortunate that Tesla is so focused on this future of robotics. But for that person, it seems like them competing overseas is really helpful. Next up today, Tesla Insurance is one of the big products that they ship in many different states in the United States in order to bring down the cost of ownership. And right now, Tesla is preparing to expand insurance into Florida. This is the first new US state launch in years for this product. So if it's successful here, Florida would be the first state added since Utah and Maryland were added over 3 years ago. Currently, Tesla Insurance operates in 12 different states: Arizona, California, Colorado, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. In California, it's actually a little bit of a different product because it just works like standard insurance. Tesla cannot use real-time insurance or telematics due to regulatory constraints here. But in other markets, it's that thing where it uses the safety score beta version 2.2, which monitors driving behavior like hard braking, aggressive turning, unsafe following, excessive speeding, late-night driving, and unbuckled driving. It uses all of these factors to give you a safety score and then determine your rate accordingly. For a lot of people, it's a very cool thing because they're a very safe driver and it brings down their rates. But it's not allowed in California right now. In any case, it looks like Florida could be the next state getting Tesla Insurance. And Tesla is also targeting a few other markets like Georgia. For now, it's only in the United States, but long-term as well, Tesla is exploring offering Tesla Insurance in Europe. So we'll see how this product does overall and how it expands globally. Tesla always says that this helps them to be in a little bit of a loop for themselves, where they see the insurance cost of repairs on their own cars, and then they can work on the engineering side of things. It sounds very good, but I still do deal with Tesla repairs on my cars that are on Turo, and they're still quite expensive these days. So I hope that more expansion here can help bring down repair cost. Last up today, some updates from other tech companies and automakers. Over at Apple, they have announced the new M5 chip in 3 different products. This M5 chip has a GPU that's about 30% faster than the M4. It has much faster on-device AI and about 30% more unified memory bandwidth. The first product to get this is the M5 MacBook Pro, which will be available starting the 22nd. Overall, it seems like a pretty good upgrade to the base chip that this includes, and then the other trims still offer the M4 Pro and such. Then the M5 iPad Pro is also coming with all of these improvements, but then the big one we've had rumored for some time is kind of the second generation version of the Apple Vision Pro, the M5 Apple Vision, which is definitely the first refresh of this product. The other funny thing is that this launches with a new comfortable band, and their wording there makes it very funny because it's pretty much admitting the fact that this product did not come with comfortable bands when it launched. Quote, the latest version improves performance, display rendering, battery life, and comfort while offering innovative features with visionOS 26 and all new spatial apps and Apple immersive content. This is one of those refreshes that is definitely a little frustrating to early adopters because this was a product that was $3,500 and it still is today, but now they've already improved a number of things on the second generation version. The Vision Pro with M5 renders 10% more pixels on the custom micro OLED displays, producing sharper text and visuals, and it now supports up to 120Hz refresh rate for reduced motion blur and smoother Mac virtual display performance. If that is a noticeable, perceivable difference, it's a pretty big one. Then AI performance is improved with the 16-core neural engine, delivering up to 50% faster Apple system AI features and 2 times faster third-party app performance. But then comes that new comfortable band. It's a dual-rib 3D knitted design for improved comfort, balance, and breathability. And then it has a fit dial for fine adjustments here. They say that this new band fits small, medium, and large sizes and is sold separately and backwards compatible with the previous Vision Pro. I think for a lot of Vision Pro users like myself, I ended up buying a third-party band for this. Or actually what I did is I bought a 3D printed piece that allowed me to attach 2 different bands so you had support on the top of your head as well. Overall, this product is very interesting, and I talked in my last video about how this is kind of the most impressive version of this technology, but it's expensive and bulky. And then you have these new Meta Ray-Ban display glasses on the other end of the spectrum. Somewhere in the middle will probably be where all of this technology succeeds. In any case, in the meantime, Apple is rumored to be working on smart home display hubs, and they're expected to cost around $350. This would match the original HomePod's launch price. The first planned device is a 7-inch smart display that would act as a central command hub for home control, and there are 2 variants said to be in development right now. First is a tabletop model, like a HomePod mini with a screen, and then there's a wall-mounted version as well. Reportedly, Apple is assembling these in Vietnam alongside a couple new products like a tabletop robot and an indoor security camera, although I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see all of these products come to be. Regardless, it seems like they're entering this space, which has been growing a lot. And rumors say that BYD, a Chinese company that we hear a lot about with batteries and EVs, is partnering with Apple to help produce the HomePods and the robot specifically. These products have been rumored for some time, but it seems like we're getting a little more development here, and they've been pushed back because of slow developments with their Siri and AI systems. We'll see what this ends up being, but of course that $350 price point is more expensive than competitors like the Amazon Echo Show at around $220. Last up today, over at Ford, they're cutting prices on the 2026 F-150 Lightning by up to $4,000, and that's to help counteract the loss of the federal EV tax credit. The Flash trim now starts at $65,995, with the Lariat seeing a $2,000 price reduction down to $74,995. Other trims maintain the previous pricing, so it seems like they're particularly targeting those 2 trims. The STX trim replaces the XLT trim and starts at $63,345, the same price, but it offers about 50 more miles of range using a 123 kilowatt-hour extended battery. Overall, it seems like for this product, we're seeing a price drop and then an increase in range, which is, at the end of the day, what everyone wants to see with electric vehicles. That's all the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news for today. So in the meantime, if you want to see crash test results for EVs and Teslas, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.